Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of this newsletter is going to be, I don't want to get into anything. Got an email here from a guy who was dating a girl, and she happened to tell him that amongst a few other typically confusing type of statements. But before we get into his email, I got a quote I'd like to share with you. And it says, the feminist movement has done a lot of damage to emasculate men to the point that men are made to feel ashamed for their sexual desires, being men, being leaders, and standing up for themselves. The effort to make both sexes equal has destroyed the natural sexual polarity between men and women to the point that almost every TV or movie portrays men as being feminine, weak, needy, approval-seeking, and basically afraid of women and afraid of being themselves. Women who I coach and talk to are extremely frustrated that men no longer seem to know how to be men, be leaders, or create attraction. Men need to act like men and stop with the approval-seeking, ass-kissing, phony behavior if they want to be successful in their intimate relationships. And what I like about this guy's email is you're going to see a lot of little things that he is doing, approval-seeking type of behavior, putting this girl on a pedestal, and obviously because of that, he's getting a lot of hot and cold behavior out of her. And then he questions her on it in the end, and you'll see once we get into it. He says, hey Corey, I read a post of yours and I really like your perspective on things. I'm having a hell of a time with this girl I'm interested in. Her relationship ended with her boyfriend, which lasted about a year, but I'm not sure who ended it. About 4 months ago, she contacted me about 3 weeks after the breakup. We actually hung out a little bit last year before she started her relationship with her ex too. So it sounds like she chose this other guy over you. He says, I turned her down quite a bit because I was thinking she was using me as a rebound or something. Well, that's not really a positive place to come from. It's like you're already presupposing, oh, she's not really interested in me, she's just using me as a rebound. Instead, your attitude should be, well, of course she fucking called me because I'm awesome and I have a lot to offer a woman. So it's a totally natural thing. This kind of shit that happens to me all the time. Because this tells me what your personal psychology is. It tells me what your self-talk and your self-thinking is. And it's obviously not positive. And so everything that you're going to do and say is coming from that perspective of fear, which is going to cause you to do and say a lot of things that are negative and that are going to make you look weak and not create attraction. It's like, when I read this guy's email for the first time, it's like the typical kind of guy that you see on TV, approval-seeking, ass-kissing, where do I stand, basically acting like a woman. Of course, in TV, the guy always gets the girl, but in real life, this is what you actually see, what happens in real life. He said, she said that she was not looking at me as a rebound, so obviously you asked her that. Would James Bond ever say anything like that? I don't think so. And she just wants to go with the flow. Yeah, that's why I say hang out, have fun, and hook up, and see what happens. He says, I finally gave in and started showing more interest in her and agreed to go on a date, which went well. It started to develop nicely and was going good, and then we had sex for the first time after about a month of talking to each other every day and a few dates. It's like the phone is for setting dates. It's not for getting to know someone. And you notice over the course of a month, you only had a few dates, but you were talking every day. So when you do that, you're in danger of becoming the emotional tampon, the gay male girlfriend, and the friend with no benefits but a bad case of blue balls. He says, but the hookup came from us running into each other at the bar on Saturday night, and we were both pretty drunk. She initiated everything, and I even warned her several times if she was sure she wanted to do this. Come on, man. It's like you don't say shit like that to a girl. Are you sure you want to do this? In other words, oh, I know you're drunk. In other words, there's no way you could like me enough other than when you're drunk to sleep with me. So are you sure you want to do this? It's like, think about that for a second. That perspective makes you look really weak and unworthy. It's just, this is not helping your case, man. It's not making you look strong. Would James Bond ever say something like that? No, you'd be like, of course you want to sleep because I'm fucking James Bond. So he says, a couple of days later, in our nightly text conversations, she expressed concern that she doesn't want to rush into anything with me and wants to take things slow. He says in parentheses, haha, I find that funny because she does all the initiating. Well, the reason she's saying that, or the reason she brought that up in the first place, is she can tell that you're pushing things a little. In other words, you're a little bit more into her than she's into you. And women, the average woman, just like the quote I shared, I talk to women all the time in my coaching practice and when I'm out in the real world. Like women want guys to act like men, and they act like such fucking pussies. They have a hard time just finding a guy who acts like a man. And so they're very used to meeting guys like you that become the emotional tampon or take the friendship route. And so you're starting to display this kind of behavior that every other guy that she meets displays and turns her off. And so she's helping you because she obviously is digging you, and she's trying to teach you and tell you what you need to do to interact with her properly, but you're just kind of ignoring that and going, hey, well, she's doing all the initiating, so I'm just going to continue running after her and pushing things a little harder. What you end up doing is you just chase her right out of your life. He says, because her past relationship developed fast and didn't end well, I'm guessing. Never assume anything. I can tell you haven't read my book yet, and you definitely need to read it. And for any of you watching this who haven't read my book, the new Kindle version is out, by the way, but the print version is not going to be out for a few more months. But on my website, underneath the email sign-up box, the box will take you to Amazon Kindle. He says, I said that is fine with me because I'm busy with work in volleyball, basketball leagues, and I'm not in a rush for anything either. Well, that was a good comeback. He says, I think about a week or two later is when she went cold turkey and never texted me and gave me somewhat of a cold shoulder at the bar one weekend. That tells me you were over pursuing her. He says, plus again, you're talking too much on the phone instead of making dates. He says, I finally texted her what the deal was, and she said she had been busy and she had to take a step back because of what my friend supposedly said to her that freaked her out. He says, according to my friend, all he said was, if you like Eric, you should pursue him. Well, that's supposedly what he says. So, yeah, that's why it's important never to talk about who you're dating or what you're doing, especially if you have the same friends in common, because you got a helpful friend, and obviously your buddy probably doesn't understand women or how attraction works, and so he probably put his foot in your mouth for you, by the way, and creating problems for you. But in reality, it's your actions that are driving her away, and she's just using your friend as an excuse. He says, I reassured her that I was willing to take things slow and keep it casual. Well, you're saying one thing, but obviously you're blowing up her phone and chasing her and texting her, but not making dates. That communicates everything to her. Women are smart enough to know to look at a man's actions. And when you say one thing and yet you do another, in other words, you say, hey, I can take it slow, but you act like a needy woman, she looks at your actions. He says, if she was still interested. Oh, that, again, more positive presupposing. He says, well, the next 2 months have been extreme hot and cold with her. 1 week she'll be all over me saying she really likes me, initiating the dates and the conversations, and then another week it will be like she doesn't want anything to do with me. We play on two volleyball leagues together on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and she's just all over the map and how she acts around me. Because that tells me that you're hovering around her. Are you still interested with that kind of vibe? And it's a turnoff because you're acting like a woman. That's why she acts cold and indifferent to you, to see how you're going to react. And what happens is you totally come unglued and you can't handle yourself. He says she never acts snotty or anything like that, but again, it's like sometimes she's real flirty and then other times it's like I'm a complete stranger to her. We were at the same wedding last weekend and nothing really happened like I had hoped. He says we danced a little bit, and this also, I can tell you ain't got anything else going on in your personal life, and you're totally consumed and infatuated with this girl at this point, and it's totally clouding your judgment. He says we danced a little bit and talked casually, but I was hoping we'd finally set off the fireworks there, but it really didn't happen. See, you're expecting like some big moment, fireworks to go off, and you're going to be together forever after that. But it's not like that with women. It's a process. Women are not a light switch. They fall in love slowly over time due to your acting like a man and leading the interaction to a successful conclusion in the bedroom each time. That's the whole purpose of seduction. You're attracted to her, she's attracted to you, and you lead it to a successful conclusion by being a man. He says, I finally confronted her about it, and he puts in parentheses, which might have been a mistake. Yeah. He says, I read, here's the text from last night, and see what you think. I really do like this girl. Well, obviously, that's obvious. And I definitely want a relationship. Hang out, have fun, hook up. Forget about the relationship stuff. Hang out, have fun, hook up. Because that's the problem. You're focused on a relationship, and she's fearing she's going to lose her freedom. That's why she's hot and cold. Because one minute you're kind of cool, and the next, when she kind of pulls away, you totally come unglued. And some women will do that. They'll purposely not call you back for a few hours, or when they may have been talking to you every day, all of a sudden they'll stop texting you. And the average guy, when they don't hear from her for a day or two, they blow up her phone like, hey, what's wrong? I haven't heard from you. What's going on? What's the problem? You're acting like the other 99% of the average frustrated chumps that never get anywhere with women. He says, but I just don't know what to do and I can't figure out. So let's go through his text that he shares. And he says, my Sunday was good. We were out on the boat all day. Hey, I hope I didn't do anything to piss you off or something. Approval-seeking behavior. Your Highness, you're putting her on a pedestal. Women want to be treated just like anybody else, but now you're acting like she's like a queen that you got to fucking bow down and get on your knees and kiss her feet. He says, I don't understand your hot and cold game all the time. One minute you seem interested in me, but then lately it seems like you want nothing to do with me. I don't know, you're kind of hard to figure out at times, buddy, haha. And then she responds, again, would James Bond talk that way? It's like, come on, man. And she says, no, how could I be mad at you or anything? It's absolutely nothing you have said or done because you're very close to perfect. That is a bullshit fucking statement because she doesn't want to hurt your feelings. It's exactly that. It's like when somebody says, oh, I wouldn't fuck you over. It's like, in other words, I'm going to fuck you over if you give me the chance. That's what that means. So he says, it's absolutely everything you've said and done. She says, I have some shit going on that I can't really explain. It's fucking BS excuse. So I don't want to get into anything. And I'm completely understand if you're upset with me and confused. I'm confused myself. Being confused and unsure is a feminine quality. And see, when you act unsure of yourself, you're acting like a woman. And that's why you're getting this kind of flaky behavior. She wants a masculine man, not a feminine woman or a feminine man. He says, she says, I really do like hanging out with you and talking with you, but I have such a huge guarded wall up that I'm not going to be looking for something more for a while. And I think and here's where women are smart. They know this shit. He says, and she says, I think you are looking for something more, and it sucks. If the time was right, then I'd be down for anything, but it's not the right time. In other words, I'm not feeling it yet. It's an emotional thing for women, and it takes a couple of months of successful dating, hanging out, having fun, and hooking up for them to be at that place. She's telling you that in her own way without trying to hurt your feelings. And he says, and then his response is, I'm not upset, I'm just confused. It's a good word, LOL. He says, but girls are good at that, I guess. In other words, now you just said, I don't understand how attraction works, and women usually bamboozle me. Again, that's not making you look attractive, dude. He says, I'm not trying to pressure you or anything, but I'm confused on your inconsistency, but I would like to hang out with you more often. Now she just told you, chill out, and now you're saying, I want you more. It's like you're not listening to her. He says, I'm always here for you, even as a friend, too. Don't ever fucking say that, dude. That's how you're setting yourself up to get friend zoned now. He says, if you ever want to talk or anything. And then she says, oh, I know you'd be a great listener, so maybe just now, because I'm just exhausted from it, haha. But yeah, I agree. I enjoy hanging with you and would like to hang more, but I'm going to hit the hay, so I will talk to you later. What I would do at this point is nothing. Let her contact you, make a date, hang out, have fun, and hook up. Keep things simple. If you want to book a phone session, click the products tab on my website and follow the instructions. I'll talk to you soon.